So I am going to restring my pick ukulele, and I have Ernie Ball strings. I just want to be very clear that there's nothing wrong with these strings. They're just thinner than I like. I like thicker strings. Excuse me. So I got these, and these are also black in color, so I think that looked pretty neat. So anyway, okay, so open them up and pull out the first string. See, black, and they have the ball ends, which is nice for this type of slotted bridge on the pick ukulele. So anyway, the first thing you do is remove this string. So I like to pluck the string just to make sure that I'm going the right direction with the tuner. Okay, so all I'm doing is just loosening it until you can get it off. I know people use those string winders and stuff, but yeah, I always find they're more trouble than it's worth. Okay, so it pops right out. So this string here, if you can see it, has like a little knot. Here's something dark, so put it up again. The nifty case. See? It has like a little knot tied in that holds it in that little notch. So anyway, here we have the new string. Okay, and pretty easy, you just put it into the slot. Okay, the slot is a little too thin. The string is a little too thick. So I'm going to get some sandpaper and just widen that slot a tiny bit. So I'll be right back. Alright, it took a few minutes, but with some sandpaper I used 120 grit and this little ruler to give it a little support, and I just kind of like, you know, sawed the little slot wider. So anyway, now the instructions for the Ernie Ball strings say that if it's a ball end, which this is, you snip it off and tie a knot, but you know what, it already has a knot in it, so this little ball end here we don't need. So you just take it off. This goes right in the slot, so that, see how the knot kind of holds it in there? Okay. Then we go up to this end here, and we're going to string it up on the tuner. So we'll do that in a second. So we're now going to string this up, and pretty simple. We thread it through the hole in the tuner. Okay, and we want to make sure that we're wrapping it so that the string wraps around the tuner with the string being on the inside of the tuner. We don't want it on the outside of the tuner. Okay, if that makes sense. So it's a little hard to judge this because these strings are going to stretch like crazy. But if we go about, like say, an inch or two, whatever, okay, going to go about an inch. Okay, then back it up, and then if I wrap that around the top, so now the first wrap, as you can see, is on the inside of the tuner. Okay, the first wrap goes over this loose piece of string. Okay, and I'm going to hold it tight. Let me zoom in. Okay, and I'm going to hold it tight with this finger. Okay, and I start tightening it. Okay, so now the string is wrapping around the post, and this loose piece is just kind of along for the ride. Okay, so now the next loop around is going to go underneath this loose piece, the loose end. So the first wrap went over it, the next one goes under it. Okay, and now all the remaining wraps are going to be underneath. So what I do is, if I put my thumb like this, okay, I'm holding it down towards the headstock with my thumb and keeping it tight with these fingers here. Okay, and now I just tighten and tighten and tighten and tighten and tighten and tighten and tighten, and at some point it gets tight, and then you can just kind of leave it. Okay, so, and there we are, done. You can now take this loose piece here and just snip it. I wouldn't snip it too close because you don't want it to eventually kind of the tension to slip it through that hole again. So I like to leave it sticking out just a tiny amount. But that's really all there is to it. And now I'm going to do the other three. And my Pick-a-Pick ukulele has all new thicker strings on it. Yay.